Braves and Phillies are set for a rematch of last weekend's series, this time in Truist Park. Here's your 10-minute scouting report for today's game. This is your Braves Today Scouting Report, a production of the Believe Podcast Network and presented to you by FanDuel. I'm Lindsey Crosby. In the next 10 minutes, we're breaking down everything you need to know before first pitch. Today, it's the Braves and the Phillies in the series opener, so let's get into it. Braves have put out their lineup for the day. It is the same guys that you are used to seeing, slightly different order. Ronald Acuna Jr., Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, 1 through 3. Ozzie Albies moves up to the cleanup spot. First time he's been cleaned up all year. Michael Harris batting fifth. He is back in the lineup after leaving last night's game with left quad tightness. They said it was precautionary. It clearly was. Austin Riley is batting sixth. That is the lowest he's been in the lineup this season. So this is a new lineup. This is the 16th unique lineup of the season. Dom Smith batting seventh, Mauricio Dubon eighth, and Mike Yastrzemski batting ninth. Really interesting to kind of see Ozzie in that 4 spot. He doesn't have the traditional power profile that you want from a cleanup hitter, but he's been pretty good at getting balls to the pull side, so we'll absolutely see if it works. Phillies have their lineup as well, and it should be a very familiar lineup to the Braves because it is mostly the standard that they have seen. Leadoff shortstop Trey Turner, a right-handed hitter, followed by 2 lefties, Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper at DH and first base. Adolis Garcia, another righty to break up the stretch, playing right field and batting cleanup, followed by lefty Brandon Marsh in left field and lefty Bryson Stott at second base, batting sixth. Then you get a righty, third baseman Alec Bohm, followed by 2 more lefties, Justin Crawford, the center fielder, batting eighth, and catcher Garrett Stubbs in the lineup for an injured JT Realmuto, batting ninth. Again, Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Adolis Garcia, Marsh, and Stott, Bohm, Crawford, and Stubbs. We are going to see Andrew Painter yet again. We saw him just on Sunday night. We will see him again. Reminder that he is pretty good at what he does. He doesn't get a ton of ground balls. He doesn't miss a ton of bats, but he also doesn't walk a lot of guys. He gets plenty of chase, and he doesn't get hit that hard. The way that you're going to see him attack hitters, just based on what he's done so far this season, is against lefties. He's going to throw the 4-seamer in the slider early. If he gets ahead of you, either 2 strikes or even just ahead in the count in general, you're going to see curveballs and splitters. And then when he's behind, that's where he goes 4-seam slider, and most of that's going to be 4-seam. When you look at him versus righties, it is a fastball heavy mix early in the count. Sinkers and 4-seamers are over 65% of the pitches he throws to start the at-bats. If he gets ahead, he shifts to using that slider a little bit. If he gets behind, it's a lot of like sinker, sweeper. Let me see if I can get some ground balls. And then when he gets to 2 strikes, it's 4-seam slider. So the splitter, not really a consideration. The curveball, not really a consideration. The sweeper only comes into play, weirdly, if he is usually behind in the count. Kind of an odd way to do everything. But there's also a couple, like, at the same time, Andrew Painter's never had a 3-0 count on a right-handed hitter this season. He just doesn't get behind guys a lot. He's throwing a lot of strikes on the first pitch, especially to lefties. When you look at the bullpen situation for either teams, there are some really interesting observations here. For Atlanta's bullpen, a lot of names because Dylan Dodd and Raisel Iglesias have pitched in the last week and then went on the injured list. But Jose Suarez and Martin Perez, the 2 long men you have right now, are both going to be down for today, typically because they like to give 3 days of rest after a guy breaks 50 pitches. So Jose Suarez should be back tomorrow. Carlos Carrasco only threw 10 pitches on Thursday. I'm assuming he is the long man available for the Braves today. When you look at the leverage arms, Dylan Lee has pitched both of the last 2 days. He pitched on Wednesday and Thursday, needed 13 pitches each time. So I assume, if at all possible, they're going to want to stay away from Dylan Lee. Tyler Kinley, Robert Suarez, both those guys have had a day off. Kinley actually pitched three out of 4 days, but he didn't pitch on Thursday. Suarez pitched on Sunday and Wednesday and had a day off. So you've got them. Aaron Bummer is a well-rested lefty. He has 2 days of rest. Joel Piops is coming off of 2 days of rest, although I don't know how much you can trust him or how much they trust him right now, given the runs he allowed on Tuesday night. But the big takeaway here, Atlanta has the leverage arms available if they need them. When you go to Philly's bullpen is kind of a mess. They had today's their 8th straight game without an off day. Atlanta's been in a similar situation, but Philly hasn't had any starting pitcher go more than 5 1/3 in their last 5 games. So they've been really running this bullpen a lot. Alex McFarland was called up today to reinforce the bullpen. If he gets into a game, it's going to be his major league debut, and he came out of Double-A. That's how Philly's bullpen is dealing with all of the overwork right now. Lefties Tim Meza and Kyle Bacchus are probably both available for Philly. Meza hasn't pitched since Tuesday. Bacchus hasn't pitched since Wednesday. So they've got those two middle relief lefties and McFarland that are fully rested. Everybody else pitched yesterday. All of their leverage arms went in yesterday's 10-inning game, and then they still got walked off by the Cubs, right? They threw Orion Kirkering. They threw Jose Alvarado. They threw Brad Keller. They've used all of those guys. And Tanner Banks probably shouldn't be available today because he's thrown 41 pitches in the last 3 games. But at the same time, Philly's lost 9 straight games. I don't think they're going to rule him out if they think that's the difference in winning or losing today. But again, they've just pushed their bullpen really hard. If this game goes to the bullpens and the game is still up in the air, I really like Atlanta's chances against their bullpen. When you look at like some of the larger factors for this game, Braves hitters had 6 hard hit balls off of Andrew Painter on Sunday. Michael Harris went 2 for 2 with a homer, so I'm glad he's back in today's lineup. Dom Smith, Mike Yastrzemski, Ronald Acuna Jr. all had homers off of him. And they weirdly, though, the Braves also had 4 pop-outs in that start by Painter. 2 of them were on four-seam fastballs. I don't know what it is about his four-seamer, but they just struggled with it a little bit. But the big questions here. 1, can Painter avoid the big inning? Sunday night, the reason they lost was he gave up 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning. And it just, the middle of the order, you know, your Baldwin, your Olsen, your Riley, your Albies, they strung together multiple hits. Braves got a crooked number on the board. Can the top of Philly's order get some sort of run support and offensive support from everybody else? Bryson Stott has a 42 WRC plus this season. Alec Boehm has a 23. And just like you heard Ryan Spilborough say on today's episode of Braves Today, it's in your podcast feeds from a little bit earlier, previewing this series, you can't win a game with just Harper, Schwarber, and Turner. And Turner's not even really hitting right now. It's really, knock on wood, just Harper and Schwarber. They need more from everybody else. Can Atlanta not let Schwarber and Harper beat them today? And then my next thing here is for Grant Holmes. 1, can he just get out of this trend of Brave starters struggling in the first inning? And then 2, he's kind of artificially restricted what he's doing a little bit this year against righties. He hasn't thrown any changeups. He's barely using the cutter. He's barely using the curveball. Righties, it's just like slider, four-seam, sinker. Lefties is a little more diversification, but still, it's like four-seam, slider, curveball. And so when he gets to that second time through the order, he's really been struggling. Well, now he's going to get to the second time through the order against hitters that saw him 5 days ago. Does Grant Holmes expand his pitch mix a little bit today to try and be a little bit different than what they saw 5 days ago. I think that's going to be the most important thing for him. He wasn't bad last Sunday, 4 2/3 innings, but they pulled him because Schwarber was coming up again. Schwarber had already taken him deep, and you got to find ways to get him out. You don't need to come out in the 5th inning. You need to go deeper than that. And it's all going to come down to how well can you handle that second time through the order, and then when that top of the order comes around a third time. Braves Today sponsor FanDuel does have the Braves as a 1.5 favorite with an over-under of 9 innings. I really just think this comes down to what version of Phillies offense comes to play, right? Do they get contributions from everybody? Do they have to get carried by Schwarber and Harper and Turner? What happens here? If Philly gets the offense that they thought they had, they'll have a good chance at breaking the losing streak. If Atlanta gets the offense that they had all week in Washington, and the pitching can just keep Philly from going, the top of Philly's order from going nuts, this should be an easy Braves win. That'll do it for the Braves Today scouting report. If you want the deeper analysis, the lineup breakdowns, and everything behind the numbers, make sure you're subscribed to Braves Today. Enjoy the game. We'll be back after it with the postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta and today's 3 things over at bravestoday.com.